What we are going to see now is list of many tables taken from Professor Aralik's site, with which we work together on them, some of his, some of mine, which gives us a clear picture about all these conflicts that we unfortunately have today with Arabs, with the Palestinians. And one should see clearly that behind all of it is the Islam. As it is now, the Islam really want to dominate the world. They say it clearly. We see tables which also clearly show it. And as you know quite well, in Israel also these Islamic parties slowly hope that we'll be able to bring Israel to such a situation to be influenced and directed by the Islam. No, believe in God. Some of them need to believe in God. But in fact, as you will see it clearly, from time to time, Mansour Abbas is member of the Knesset, the head of Ram, says clearly, indicates that this was a want. So let us see now those tables that we did together, Professor Alec, myself, Professor Alec from University Gender Center, New York, and let us see really very important tables will give us clear picture of where we are now and what is really the source of the conflicts today, which will not be able to be solved with politics because the roots are much deeper to do with faith, with God. So here is one of the very strong one, which I found, and Professor Aralik analyzed it and found that it is a statistic 0.5 to 100,000. Basically, this teaches clearly important things. There's a quarrel, Riv Yerushalayim, the whole quarrel of Jerusalem, with Ishmael, with the Arabs, and Ashraf, PLO, and Fatah, all are involved in it, in this quarrel. Clearly is behind their belief that Jerusalem belongs to them, in Al-Aqsa. And this is really the root of the problems. Israel definitely believe, and the Torah says, that if they will keep the covenant, so they will get Jerusalem. So you can see clearly in it, in this table, the basis of all these problems, conflicts about Jerusalem has to do with belief, with belief, So let us see more. Now this really clearly shows what we mentioned, that Hamas, Ismaila Ania, you know quite well who is he, Islam Abbas. So here really Professor Aralik explains the situation running through the last row of the table. We can see the verse of cause you perish and to destroy you. These facts are words that Hamas speaks to the children of Israel. This is followed by, and you will be thrown from upon the ground. This is exactly what happened in these engagements. Right. Today, the jihad Muslim says you will die for what I believe, even if it means that I and my people will die in the process. Thus is fulfilled the Torah's prophecy of Ishmael. His hands would be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And overall, his brothers, he shall dwell. So this is amazing table. Really give you the picture what the Torah says. The Torah says here, the verses you can see here, to cause you to perish and you will be torn from upon the ground. They want to destroy you. No, this is exactly what happened in Gush Katif. So, also a very interesting, significant table, 1.5 to 10,000, but clearly shows us the picture where we are. Then we have also clearly those Palestinian Gaza, especially the jihad, the Hamas was shooting missiles, rockets. So this was the bond. Yeah, what we have here, you have here the verse in Gaza, the Samael is this evil force, the heavenly minister of the Satan, of Amalek, and this was want to destroy us, Israel. Amazing. So you can see all this coming here. And again, very, very significant statistical table. As you can see, less than 1 to 10,000, and it can be even more. So all this, what you see, was done by Professor Aralik and my findings. So he brings you that Abgelas found an interesting related table that also uses the root of the verb to destroy with a key word Israel and from Gaza. In addition, it has a key word, the evil angel. So clearly shows that they want to kill it. You can see what happened if an Israeli, even by mistake, entered the Arab settlements. There is a lynch. They want to kill him. And by miracles, he is saved. But this situation that one should know the Arabs want to destroy us, to kill us. All the time that we will not give them the land because they believe that we are conquerors. This is the situation. You can see any Jew who enters the Islamic Arab village, so lynched, throwing stones at him, try to burn his car and everything. So this is what Torah says. Then exactly the same thing clearly written Iran, everything with Iran. I speak about when Arafat was for alive, but also clearly says that Iran, the Palestinians, Arafat want to destroy Israel, to destroy you. Yeah, and all this comes in the table. You can see it here, Lashmid, destroy you, Arafat, yeah. So unbelievable how everything which is happening in the Torah, the blueprint of creation. The same thing we have Ashraf, the PLO, and the Philistine. The same thing, you can see two tables. I have these Palestinians want to destroy Israel. And again, also the statistically 14,000. But it is interesting when combine molecular. You see, this is very important to know this is really the system of the cause. So it says that intermolecular experiment pairing the keywords to destroy an Israel with each of the following key words: Hamas, PLO, Ishmael, Iran, Islam, and Fatah. The probability that a text from the ELS, ELS is equal letter sequence, random placement text population would produce as good a result as the producer by the Torah text is 68 to 1,000. The result considerably smaller than the born from a pound completed from the 6 individual experience. So this is what you can see here. Also very interesting that when we have a table, this is what we did together with Professor Aralik. Together we did it. We found amazing table, also quite small table as this is 1.5 to 10,000 also. But clearly we have here the picture of Philistines, the Hamas, the Arabs are wild men, as the Torah says. What we can do, this is PLO and Fatah, all of them comes here. Spatach, wild pair. This is what Torah says, yeah, about Ishmael. He will be wild man. So also clearly the Torah says this is what is happening, and is the reason for the trouble the Jews are suffering so much. Then also this explains to us what is the conflict, the struggle that Israel have with the Amalekites. The Amalekites are people who want to destroy Israel. It can be the Palestinians, can be Hamas, the Jihad, all those one. All over Israel, we have the Nazis, the Crusade. All of them were agents of the Amalekite. Yeah. So also very interesting finding of Professor Ralik, 15.5 to 10,000. Then carrying on, we see here also the quarrel of the Arabs, you see, Israel, yeah? And there are three ways, it's so important, what Professor Ralik wrote in his site, TorahCode.us. There are three ways to destroy Israel. One is to kill all the children of Israel. The second is to embrace Israel so that Israel becomes assimilated and indistinguishable from the rest of the society. The third way is to tie it and constrain it so that Israel loses its freedom historically in different cultures and in different times. These three ways have been attempted repeatedly, no doubt. So this is what you have in this table, the struggle, the Ma'avak involved Israel. For the one who struggles with Israel, we have three possibilities: Ishmael, the Arabs, and Amalek. We will form the most compact table with each and determine the statistical significance of what he's doing. Then here also very, very significant table. This was found by me and analyzed by Professor Alik. It came to 12.5 to 100,000. And this really has a long explanation for it about what happened on the October the 7th of 2000, Palestinian mob demolished the tomb of the patriarch Joseph. The tomb is a Jewish holy site near the West Bank city of Shechem, Nablus. It was on October the 12th. Two Israel reservants mistakenly, this is what we said, this is what happened. So two Israelis reservists mistakenly wandered into the Palestinian city of Ramallah, where they were set upon by a mob and Palestinians and were barbarically lynched. The violence continued to flare and included a renewal of suicide attacks in Israel, killing hundreds of innocent Israeli civilians. The Palestinian terrorists infiltrated into Israel and carried out suicide bombing on buses in innocent people, women and children were murdered in Israel in attacks carried out by the Palestinian terrorists. Thousands of other Israelis were injured, many maimed for life. The Jewish year corresponding to September 28, 2000, the beginning of the Second Intifada, is 5760. We use as key word 5760, she's 2000, if I say, PLO terror, Fatah terrorists, an Intifada with expected number of fearless, say to 20. The probability that a text from the ELS equalator section, random placement text population would produce as compact as result as the produced by the Torah text is 12.5 to 100,000. Amazing, you can see it. How the terror of the PLO, Patach, on the year 5760, which is 2000, terrorist intifada. Then when it started, you can see here that all this small, the table S, this is 12.5 to 100,000. So clearly show, unfortunately, how things develop in Israel. How cruel are those Arabs and terrorists, barbarians. Now, this is also a very interesting table. Tell us exactly what Iran wants. What Iran wants. They want to enforce the Islamic law, Sharia law, status of Islam. Amazing. All this comes in this table. And again, very highly statistics, 6.5 to 100,000. By the way, exactly the place where it is found. It means this is a book. Yeah. Second book, this is a chapter and the verse. Yeah. So, what really is the conclusion of all these terrible troubles? Why they came to Jews? Why God allowed these things? So, the Torah tells us when Jews unfortunately go astray, that desecrate the Sabbath, they don't keep the laws of Torah. So those troubles of the terrorists all over. And the purpose is to bring Jews to return to keep the Torah. And this is amazing, which comes here. When we have before the quarrel of Jerusalem, which is really the source of trouble to Jews. What is the purpose? The purpose is Shuvah Lakel, to return to God. You can see minimally in the Old Torah, you return to the God, and this is important. So this is what you can see. You can read it exactly how this return to God is going to happen. It's clear. In effect, God says to Israel, you want to live and perceive an impure reality, then a reality without God and Torah. So you will experience a reality without God and Torah. And those who will cause you this experience will measure for measure. So really, one can read all of it, which come to the conclusion about this time we read in Psalms of prayer, of time past, but it is not just of a time past, it is of a time future. Read its lines and see how much you can recognize what is happening today. Express this from your heart. And this what you have is written here. This is in Psalm. A God, don't hold yourself silent. Be not deaf and be not still, O God. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up at your head. Against your people do they plot devoutly, and they consult together against those sheltered by you. So it's a very famous chapter in Psalm, clearly showing us what happened to Jews when they were killed. There is also the same thing, basically, that Iran wants to govern, yeah, no doubt, yeah, this was they're doing the bomb and everything, and they want the Sharia law, yeah, the law of the Islam. Also interesting table, which comes to 50.5 under thousand, which is really 5.10,000. So also very significant. So you can see really from all over those tables, really from the site of Professor Ralik, the oracle.us, but clearly giving you a picture about the conflict, the struggle in Israel, and clearly show that this is not a problem that one can solve with politics, as the thing Biden thing and Obama nonsense. It's much more. They want the Islam to dominate the world, and part of it is to kill those who don't believe, yeah, like they did in the past. So, as I said, worthwhile going into those tables to read really the explanation. We did not go all of it, but you can see there are quite a lot of interesting things which Professor Aralik explains about those tables. Very, very important, very, very significant, and clearly shows where we are now and how difficult the situation is for Israel.